Now, talking about the styling of the Generation 2, I think it actually is a fairly handsome looking vehicle. Now, you have to understand that this was launched back in 2003. Now, this car is a 2006 model, but it looks fantastic in this grey colour. It really does pop. And I think the fact that it has all these dark accents on it, including this kind of aero strips at the bottom, a lot of these cars do suffer with bodywork issues, because they have been used extensively by a lot of people. Now, keeping that in mind, I think this is a fantastic little car. Really is. Really neat design, clean lines, and let's not worry too much about these lights. They do fog all of them, but there are obviously treatments out there to get rid of that. Talk about the design, it's unoffensive, it's very nice to look at. You know, I think it's actually pretty nice. The curvature of the roofline, and the fact I absolutely love these rear lights. They're massive and they're crystallized, kind of how the tuner lights used to be in early 2000s. All in all, I think it's actually quite a handsome little brute. So the design of the Prius Generation 2 gets a thumbs up for me as well. And surprisingly, a lot of people don't realize this, but these are hubcaps and you can take them off, and they have really nice looking grey kind of metallic or alloys underneath. But some people have these, and these are actually worth quite a lot of money. So if you do have a Prius and it has these hubcaps on it, keep them, because I think it makes it look better. In this case, this model is a T-Spirit, so it comes with, you know, the nice leather seats and the leather wrap steering wheel. Even if you have the normal, you know, they call it the T4, the T3, they're pretty good looking. And I think if you had this on your drive, it might be embarrassing due to the fact that, you know, these cars are heavily used within private hire, but I think you should be proud of it, because it's a rather handsome looking car, and they're pretty great on what they offer for the average motorist. So as I was saying, the Toyota Prius Generation 2's interior looks like this. This is actually my father-in-law's car. So this is kind of the car of the family, if that makes sense. We have tons of leg room. There's tons of cubby holes everywhere. Look at this. There's a double glove box there. There's a little bit of space there. And of course, you've got the door bins on the side, which is quite spacious. So space is not as a premium. You also get use of this fantastic touchscreen system, which you can control various things of the car with, including this. You can see this car even has you have to agree to the fact that you're using the navigation. It even has navigation inside it. I mean, 2000, how old is this car? 2006?
2006.
Yeah, 2006. This is fantastic. And look at the amount of equipment you get. The sat-nav system is wonderful. If I put it in reverse gear, you'll see that the car actually comes with its own reversing camera. That's wonderful. And when we come back to it, you can actually look at the menu and look at different things that the car offers. So if I can just kind of highlight them to you, you can see that. And then when we look at the display, it looks at the energy monitor, and you can connect your telephone to it. How about that? That's wonderful. And obviously climate control and everything. And audio. Talk about audio. This has JBL speaker upgrades in it. You can hear that. The quality of that sound system is actually very good. And it comes with MP3 capabilities. So you can actually put your own discs in there, and obviously WMA, which is Windows Media. Now, keeping everything in mind, look how much room we have back in front of us, and this is in the driver's position. Still, look how much leg room is back there. No wonder these cars are so popular with private hire. Look at this soft roof lining, and this is the fully loaded version, so you get these really nice aired leather seats that are quite soft. It's not, I think it's leatherette. It's not, I'm not sure if it's proper leather, but I'll tell you what, it is fantastic, and it's really held up quite well. Talk about the secret cup holders. Yes, there's two there as well that people don't realize. And you got two here, which is one there and one this, and you got the glove box. All in all, the interior is very functional and luxurious. I mean, keeping in mind this is a 2006 vehicle, some of the equipment in here you will find very difficult to find in modern cars. So all in all, a fantastic thumbs up for the Gen 2 interior. So we're going to take the Generation 2 Prius out for a drive now. I've shown you all the features about it. Now we're going to take it out for a little drive and see how it feels like while it's on the road. Now, first thing you notice is because it's a hybrid, it's silent, it's almost stealthy. Moving off in this car is, well, it's stealthy as anything. And in this case, this car actually has something called a reversing camera, which allows you to park quite easily. You can hear the engines come on, but that's because I'm pressing the accelerator quite hard to move the car forward. One thing you'll notice about the Toyota Prius is that it's quite maneuverable. In this cul-de-sac, I'm using the reverse camera to actually position the car really well, and then the whole thing picks up quite well. Like, the pick is really decent. The ride is quite soft as well. This is a Japanese car at the end of the day, so you have to understand the Japs are really good at having technology. And right now you can hear the car is running silently because it's a hybrid. It really is that comfortable. The ride is really soft. It allows you to actually feel quite comfortable in this car. No wonder these cars are so heavily used within the private hire market. It's because people are actually very keen on driving these. Now, as a private vehicle, this definitely makes sense. I mean, you're paying £10 tax a year. Sometimes you're not even paying tax at all, depending on which model you buy. If you bought the generation 3 of this model, which is the Prius Gen 3, then some of them don't even have tax, so it's completely tax-free. My pick of the bunch is always going to be generation 2, and this is the reason I say so. The 1.5 unit is actually more reliable than the 1.8 unit, and you might think both of them are Toyota units, but the reality is the 1.5 unit is actually more reliable and has more parts in the market. So it's more economical to drive around and more economical to own. Now, with the hybrid battery replacements, because they do require hybrid battery replacements, you have to keep in mind with generation 3 hybrid battery replacements are about £600 to £800, while generation 2 hybrid battery replacements are from £300 to £500. And most of them are refurbished units which come with at least 10,000 mile guarantee or either a 6-month warranty. You can see that the hybrid aspect of the vehicle kicks in quite a lot when you're driving in town. So hardly ever, like right now, the car is running completely on electric power, as you can see on this energy monitor here, that it's literally showing you that it's running on battery power alone. And that's the beauty of cars like this. When you're driving them in town, you virtually are not using any fuel, which makes them extremely economical to run in town. On the motorway, granted, yes, the 1.5 unit is not the most powerful unit in the world, so you will find that the car does struggle to get up to motorway speeds, but once it's up there, it's perfectly serviceable and is acceptable as any other vehicle would be. Acceleration is not the strong point of this vehicle. It is only a 1.5 as I highlighted, but keeping that in mind and what it offers, I think is perfectly acceptable. The ride is super smooth. I have to say, the amount of equipment I have in here, including air conditioning, I have, you know, a reversing camera, all of these controls on the steering wheel make driving this car such a pleasure because everything is at your fingertips. You even have voice control in this one. This is the fully loaded T-Spirit. That means this comes with all the equipment that Toyota offered back when this Prius was new. We have the AC controls and temperature controls on the steering wheel, as well as the defrosted controls, the navigation controls as well. And we have controls for volume and how to use your stereo. You never have to take your hands off the steering wheel. I mean, look at this car. It handles so well. It's surprising for a 1.5 litre family, well, hybrid unit, which is not really a sporty car, it's just a normal hatchback. It handles so well and is really positive. It does encourage you to cover quite a lot of miles. Now, one thing that I would say about this car is really something that's quite surprising, is that the turning circle. I mean, we're going to have a look at this now. We can see we're going to do a U-turn virtually. And here, look at that. It does a full UE. It's so maneuverable. It honestly is. I'm genuinely shocked at how maneuverable this little Toyota Gen 2 Prius is. The air conditioning works really well, everything. With the fully loaded model, you'll find that this car actually has a lot to offer the average driver. If you drive this car as a private owner, yes, you're not going to spend a lot on anything. Fuel wise, it's phenomenal. It will give you on average about 50 miles to the gallon in town, and if you drive it carefully on the motorway, it will return 60 plus miles to the gallon. It's quite impressive, really. With all the equipment, the fact that the ride is smooth, it's so maneuverable in town, and let's be honest, it actually has a lot of oomph. That CVT gearbox does kick down, which means you do end up moving at a reasonable pace. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but then at the end of the day, you can either have power or economy. Now, keeping in mind that this is an automatic vehicle, and if you're an automatic only driver, this is a fantastic option. One thing I will say about this is, like, the way that the car is designed, it does take a little bit of getting used to, especially with all the airiness in the car. Another thing that I would say about this car really does require you getting used to is the fact that the CVT automatic gearbox is quite fluid, and it does obviously not move, or it's very smooth. Now, if you've driven in any of the torque converter automatics, then you will notice that that is something that you would need to get used to. Now, having said that, look, let's talk about parts. This car is so common now that you will easily be able to find parts for it, and they're reasonably priced. The most common problem with this car is going to be an O2 sensor, which needs replacing. They're about £9 off eBay, and the only other problem that realistically you're looking at is the hybrid battery, which as I explained, between £300 and £500 installed. Another thing that to keep in mind with this car is mileage. Now, you'll find loads of them online being sold for still good money with 300k, 400k on it. That, although, is not really that much of a problem. You see, because of the fact that it's a hybrid unit, there's very little load on the engine itself. So these engines genuinely can do about 500,000 miles without any trouble. The only thing you need to keep an eye on is the oil level, and to make sure that your cooling is working well, because water pumps are quite common to go on these. Having said that, keeping in mind what the Toyota Prius Generation 2 offers, and especially in this case with the T-Spirit model, which comes fully loaded, I mean, some of this tech you won't even find in modern cars. But the fact that this is a hybrid unit, which is extremely economical to run, £10 a tax a year, 50 mpg plus on average, and it's super soft and comfortable, I would say it's an ideal car to keep as a private owner. And no wonder it's so popular, because I've noticed, and this is a fact, that people don't sell these cars. Once they drive them into the ground, because they're fairly maintenance free. Now, in this case, this is the luxury model of the Prius, so you get the nice leather wrap steering wheel, you get the leather armrest, you get the leather seats, which are really, really comfortable. You get this nice kind of textured door panels and textured on the dash as well. It's really quite comfortable, and I think it looks quite nice for what it is. I mean, a lot of people will tell you the Generation 2 is ugly, but I would say no. I prefer this to the Generation 3. So all in all, the driving a Toyota Prius is an absolute pleasure, and including the foot brake, which makes it a doddle. The only thing I would say, as I said, with this you have to keep in mind is to make sure, if you're going to buy one with high mileage, is to make sure that you have the relevant paperwork with it, and obviously make sure that the hybrid battery is in good nick. You can always purchase something like this, which is the VP OBD reader. You can also use it alongside Dr. Prius to find out the health of the Prius that you are looking to buy. But I think if you're looking for a reasonably priced family hatchback that's going to be fairly maintenance free, offers you fantastic economy, is an automatic vehicle, and above all is actually surprisingly comfortable to drive and luxurious, then I definitely think Toyota Prius has to be on your radar. And above all of them, I think the Generation 2 is the one to offer. That offers the best compromise between vehicle maintenance, cost, and of course performance. I definitely think Gen 2 is the one that you should buy. Gen 3 is decent, but Gen 2 is the one for me. And this one is rather lovely.